enjoying the best. Let's succeed, relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays happening live. What we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the traffic avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the traffic avenue.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, Traffic Avenue, oh yeah.
95, 96, 97.3 Citi FM. It doesn't get any better than that.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu here tonight with
Ejubi Wiafe Akenti.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes.
You are being unruly, please. This is unbecoming of a member of parliament. Please,
Minister,
stop doing this.
Listen, you don't have the floor.
No,
you
I have the floor. No,
so
you have asked me a
respectfully.
question. I have the floor. You will let me answer the question. No, you will let me answer the question. No, you won't do that, Abina. You won't do that today.
Minister for Communications Samuel Attah-Mensah clashes with Parliament's Public Accounts Committee Chair, the Honourable Attah-Mensah, over the quality of services by MNOs. We'll be hearing more on what transpired at that sitting. Also coming up, we'll hear from the Ghana Health Service, which says that it is very ready in the event that Ghana records a case of Ebola, which has been recorded in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And later on Eyewitness News, the comments by the minority leader Alexander Penyo-Markin against the judge at the Circuit Court 9 in Accra, which has got government's chief spokesperson and Minister of State in charge of government communication Phyllis Kwachio-Fosu calling the Ghana Bar Association pro-NPP. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
Bank of Ghana governor warns inflation risk rising from global and local pressures.
That's in 50 minutes from the Citi Business Desk. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a number of affiliate stations and across the globe on citinewsroom.com. The show is interactive. Send us messages on WhatsApp 0549 986 996 0549 986 996. On Twitter, now known as X, mention my handle at Umaru Sanda or at Citi973 at the hashtag Eyewitness News. Now, tensions flared at the Public Accounts Committee sitting today between the Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Attah-George, MP, and Chairperson Abena Ose-Asare over poor service delivery by telecommunications networks. The clash followed the Minister's comments attributing the issue to poor governance, weak leadership, and lack of policy decisions under the Akufo-Addo administration. The Honourable Abena Ose-Asare, who served as a minister in the Akufo-Addo administration, would not have any of that. Let's listen to the interaction.
In 2016, to deal with increasing growth in the market, MTN rolled out 134 new sites. And when we say sites, those are like what gives the connectivity, 134. In 2017, it went up to 352. In 2018, 300. In 2019, 352. In 2020, 200. 2021, 120. 2022, 343. 2023, 350. 2024, 30. 2025, which was last year, they did only 50 sites. With our directive this year, they are doing 800 new sites.
So, with all this that is going on, you ask MTN, the infrastructure that they claim they are building, the monies that they get from users, is it commensurate with the infrastructure that they are building? Absolutely no.
Madam Chair.
Minister, absolutely no.
Madam Chair.
I understand that, but you see, for them to sit and enjoy the increase in users and then wait and wait and wait over a period of time before the minister says, add on this, add on that. All these monies that they were enjoying,
Madam Chair,
couldn't they have on their own increased these user sites that you are talking about? This is not good enough, Minister. We expect something to be done, and we expect it to be done sooner than, they are talking about, because now it is really, really bad.
Madam Chair,
in my constituency, Minister, it's like you just cannot make an MTN call.
Madam Chair, we are dealing with a decade of rot and lack of action, and it will not be fixed. Madam Chair, if you will,
no,
it
Minister,
won't be fixed.
Just listen to me.
6 months.
A decade of whatever it is, were they not being paid for the increase in users?
They were, but there was someone who was also being paid to make policy decisions. It's a policy decision I have taken.
But as a private company on your own,
they are driven by profit.
You look at the quantum of monies that are coming in, and you don't even think that let me also improve my services to be, so that the users, the huge influx of users that are coming in, can at least enjoy not anything exceptional, but basic services.
Madam Chair, I do not stand here to defend any of the telcos. However, the role in which I sit here to serve the Ghanaian people. Whoever sits as MD of MTN is thinking of his shareholding and his profit margins. And as every private business, not just MTN, every private business will look at what they need to do to maximize profit within the legal regime.
But you maximize profit,
what I have, and Madam Chair, the point I am making is that
commensurate with service.
And that is why you have a regulator. Regulators have a role to protect the customer by taking policy decision. You had a decade where there was poor leadership. Over the decade, the average number of cell sites per year was 223 sites.
Minister,
and I'm saying to you that in this year alone,
and put blame on policy makers or whoever it is. They themselves, as a company, also ought to do. Yes, I'm saying it is neither here nor there, Minister. But all we are asking now is whatever has happened has happened.
Madam Chair, when you ask
moving forward, Minister, please, moving forward, we want something done. We want some actions taken, and the actions should be taken quicker than what they have told you.
Madam Chair,
Minister, that's all we are saying.
Madam Chair, but you need to listen to me.
I understand what you are saying.
Minister,
Engineering is not about sentiment. It is about
giving a policy
in business. You look at the monies that are coming to you, and you ought to direct the services, the services that you are also giving. So that's all I'm saying. Minister, this is not monologue, no.
You've made your point. Can you listen to me?
And tired of the poor quality services that we are experiencing. And that's all we are saying, Minister. That is all we are saying. Maybe you think it is sentiment. It is not sentiment. It is the people of Ghana, the people in Etiwa East who are complaining. We cannot even make calls, and it's serious. So that's all I'm saying, Minister. All I'm saying is that whatever it is that you have put in place, let them expedite action, because they are making so much in profits. When you look at their financial statements, you look at the profits coming from the Ghana company alone. It is so much money compared to what is coming from the other countries. And so we expect some level of services that will help all of us. And that is all I'm saying, Minister. Thank you very much.
Now, Chair.
Yes.
The point I'm simply making is that I won't sit here to justify anybody. But private businesses are about making profits. And those profits, they paid to you over 8 years at the Finance Ministry as corporate taxes. Policy decision and policy leadership ought to make sure that we took steps to protect the customer. And I'm saying that we, under this reset agenda and under a responsible government, have done so.
Minister,
800.
no,
Honorable, I'm also a member of Parliament. Don't do this. You don't have. You don't. Please, I am on the floor,
Minister,
Honorable.
I understand.
Let me make my point. No, you won't heckle me. Don't play sentiment.
You, but we beg
Chairman,
you.
Until and unless policy decision is making, Honorable, you need to rein in the honourable member. She's being unruly.
No,
you are being unruly. Please, this is unbecoming of a member of Parliament. Please,
Minister,
this.
Listen, you don't have the floor.
No, I have the floor. No, so you have asked me a question. I have the floor. You will let me answer the question.
Minister,
no, you will let me answer the question. No, you won't do that, Abina. You won't do that today. Let me finish.
Minister, respectfully.
Let me finish.
This is our committee.
No,
you don't tell us what you want to do.
But you've not brought me here to talk down on me as well.
Nobody is doing that to you.
I listen to you.
Minister,
go on. You will listen to me as well.
Respectfully.
We have
asked
them to roll out. We have asked them.
Respectfully, can you turn off your mic?
The chair gave me the floor, please.
Minister.
Minister. Respectfully, don't do this.
This is our committee. Minister, respectfully, I understand.
So if it's your committee, then don't invite us. But if you invite us, you ask us a question.
Minister,
so if you ask us a question, you listen to us as well.
Minister,
it's not a monologue.
Respectfully.
So respectfully, let me land.
We will let you land. Just a minute.
Sites.
Minister, respectfully, we will let you land.
It's the same
Minister,
things you
we are not coming to repeat anything. Respectfully, we will let you land. Please. Minister, we understand you are in an important position. We understand the sensitive role that you play. When you come here and we address issues, it is not that we want to talk anybody down. Never. You and I, we go beyond this. We go beyond this. It is not that we want to talk anybody down. But Minister, the situation is serious. And that is all the sentiments I'm trying to carry across.
And that's the point I'm making. That serious situations require serious actions. We didn't see that for 10 years. And I'm saying to you that we've given a policy direction in January. On the back of our policy direction, MTN is rolling out 800 new sites. Telecel is rolling out 350 new sites. Between those two companies, you see 1,150 new sites. However, that's why I said to you that this is engineering and not sentiment. When you ask an MNO to roll out a new site, there are steps that have to be taken. First and foremost, you need to do the acquisition of the site. Then you need to then make the requisition for the radio equipment and the cell sites. Those are not things that are, for want of a better phrase, in a supermarket that you just go and buy. You place an order with an OEM. The regulator, the NCA, is going through this process. Most of the MNOs are receiving their BTA devices between July and August. So yes, we have made the request. We have asked them to take the steps. They have taken the steps. But it takes time for the equipment to arrive in the country. And when the equipment arrives and they roll out the improvement, you would see the improvement in the network. But we cannot sit here. After 10 years of failing to take action, someone is taking action, and then you say that you want to see it as quickly as possible.
How many? Yes, the Honorable Samuel Attah-George, Ningo Prampa Member of Parliament, Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations. You heard him in that banter with the Chairperson of Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, an MP for Etiwa East, the Honorable Abner Osei-Asare, who served as a minister at the Finance Ministry during the Akufo-Addo administration. Now, this committee sitting has a number of members. One of them is joining me on the line now. He is the Member of Parliament for Menchia North. He is also a member of the Public Accounts Committee, the Honorable Akwasi Konadu. You're welcome to Eyewitness News, sir.
Thank you very much, Omar.
That sounded like a shouting match at a point. I mean, you sat through what was going through your mind and your head as you listened to the back and forth between your chair and your colleague MP.
Well, let me say a very good evening to you and also to our cherished listeners and viewers. I believe that the substance of the discussion is what is paramount to me for discussion. And I think it was premised on a public interest question and a public interest advocacy that was being done. You and I know that the network challenges we have currently is not good.
But the substance is as important as the forum and the platform. I would respectfully wish to get your view first as a member of the committee as to whether what transpired was something you expected to see in a committee of parliament sitting before we go to the details of what they fought over or what they had a challenge over.
Omar,
yes, sir.
In in your profession that you do, you talk about the 3 M's, i.e. the message, the medium, and the means by which you do. All of them are important, but most importantly, is also to get the message across. I mean, whatever it is that your discussion would want to place on. I think, for me, where lies the importance in the discussion for me is what I believe the focus must be, regardless of what my expectation is or what my feeling is.
Fair enough.
I believe that...
Fair enough. So the minister holds the view... So I agree with you. No problem. Let's deal with the issues. The minister holds the view that if after 8 years you served as Minister of Finance and all the taxes have been paid to you by the telecom companies and you haven't done as much to fix the challenges with the network, why do you then, because now you are chairing a public accounts committee under a new dispensation, seek to make it sound as though the new administration is not doing anything when you ought to have done something? I think that's the summary of the Honorable Samuel Attah-Mensah's comment. You may now proceed based on that to speak about the real issues that were raised then.
Omaro, if we ask the questions, why must anybody comment about the matter? I therefore don't believe that what then would be the basis of us even having what we term as the governance structure that we do have. Every governance structure is a continuum. Whatever the situation is would require that what we have now, we better it. Omar, I mean, if you have an issue today, and probably I was there tomorrow, why must anybody ask that? Why am I asking questions about the situation now? A classical example. Omar, would you be able to criticize, comment, make suggestions about the current state of illegal mining activities we have in this country? Would you be able to do that? Maybe you spoke about it when there was a government in place. Now, maybe it's also ongoing. Must that take away that you have a right to say that, yes, what we are going on is something that is not right, and therefore we have to deal with it? So if the people are paid and the person was there as a minister, and the situation is what it is now, and we are talking about, I believe that we must take the import of what the discussion is. At least, if not for anything at all, the discussion brought about measures that have been put in place to help improve whatever the situation is now in terms of our connectivity. As I speak with you now, you are in Accra, Tesano. I am in Ada, we are communicating. Should we not have proper communication and linkages, we will not be able to have these discourses. So when we talk about some of these matters, it is about the improvement that we ought to have as a people, as a country, that will benefit the entirety of every single person who uses these services. And so my focus is, at least the discussion has brought to form efforts that are being made to make sure that we improve on connectivity of communication in this country, i.e. voice and data communication in this country. And I believe that is where the focus is. What we need to do is, and my question has always been, with all the assurances that have been given and with all the directives that have been given, do we see it practically possible that we can have all of it being done now? And what measures would we do continuously going forward to improve upon that? We are going to have 880 by MTN, 300 and so by the other metrics. We are talking about in essence about 1,000. Currently we are in May, moving into June. Is it possible that all of these things will come on stream to improve that? If not, and they cannot, what measures are we going to put in place? Where are we going to cite all of these things such that all the environmental effects and the rest will not also become an issue? These are the discussions that I believe that my focus should be on, and the focus of everybody, so that we can improve on how it happened, what it happened, and that manner will not result in the improvement that we want if these measures are not being spelled out. And this has brought us where we are now, and the measures have been spelled out. Let's focus on those ones and make sure that deliverables are made for the improvement for it to happen.
Talking about the promises and the deliverables, he gives assurance that MTN and Telecel are doing so much, and that by the end of this year, they expect to have as many as 1,100 plus sites. That sounds like what we need. Does that convince you that very soon you would have a very stable network for the people of Mensah North, for instance?
Yeah, that is a very good assurance and a good directive coming from the minister. He listed the number of cell sites that have been done over the years, and where strikingly it came to mind that I believe that we ought to interrogate is the numbers. For instance, the whole of last year, because the number of cell sites that was done was about 50. If you go through the discussions that we had, and we are moving on from the 50 that MTN did in last year to over 880 now. Is that practically possible? Or what are the timelines? What are the frames? Where are the areas that we are going to be? Because bear in mind, aside the congestions that we have centralized in the cosmopolitan areas and the metropolis, there are areas in this country, some were not even in the hinterlands, but in some of these hamlets and chalets that we do have, that connectivity is also a problem. How is this distribution going to be done so that it would improve across the country? Or are we targeting specific areas to do the improvement gradually before we move to other areas? These are the joints that we need to be picking up, and these are the joints, because the improvements will happen, and it will be to the benefit of this country. So yes, you probably may have sat there, you may have seen, and some of these measures. It even gives you an opportunity that once you are reading some of these issues, we just feed into that one and make sure that it facilitates and helps our progress and what our directives and our perspective and policy planning now would be moving into the future. So that is where we ought to be. We should be interrogating the numbers well, where these are going to be placed, how they are going to improve in terms of connectivity, and is it going to be widespread, or we are concentrating on areas and we move strategically to other areas. These are the discussions that I believe that once we have the direction, the orders, and the plans the minister has laid out, how are we going to help facilitate that? Make sure that we constantly monitor so that they can also be giving us updates and review on these matters so that collectively as a country we can move on from where we are.
Your committee is supposed to do an audit of a sort. There's another committee of Parliament that does follow-ups to see if projects have been done, the Government Assurances Committee. What is the relationship between the PAC and the Government Assurances Committee so that, for instance, the promise that was made before you today by the minister could be followed up and a report brought to you so that collectively we get the results that we want? Is there any relationship or connection between you two?
There is. Once these assurances are made, once these commitments are made before a committee of Parliament, it becomes a record and a plan and a policy that we ought to follow. Because in doing budgets and in doing approvals, all of these assurances and policies are fed into that. So once we have it now, the Government Assurance Committee will then follow up from where we are now, moving into, say, the third quarter, because the assurance by the minister is that by end of quarter 3 and by end of quarter 4. So by end of quarter 3, the Government Assurance Committee can feed on to the information that we have now and the assurances that have been made, so that they can also then interrogate what is the status of the 800 cell sites that we said MTN was going to do, which areas, and what has been the connectivity rate as compared to before. So that is how it is. Our work as Parliament is one whole revolving cycle. And once pronunciations or once assurances or once orders or policies are laid before us, all other committees work intertwined so that we pick from where we are. We do an analysis of all government expenditures as per appropriations that have been made, how these spendings were done, were they done in accordance with the law, and wherever there are infractions to them, what remedial actions would have been taken to prevent this, how much can we retrieve, and to what level have done retrievals been done, where can we do referrals to say that if there is the need for certain prosecutions to be made or further investigations by the administrative bodies are done, then they can do. Then the Government Assurance Committee would come to make sure that all of these plans, programs, policies, laid out structures, how well have they been implemented so that it feeds into those pronunciations so that the collective benefit that we intend wanting to have we then have. So the Government Assurance Committee will build up upon where we have. We have interrogated to bring about those assurances and the promises, the implementation of it and the verification of it. Then the other committee does that so that it doesn't become a one-sided approach. Yes, it doesn't become a one-sided approach.
Finally, let's talk about the relevance of your committee and its work. So I'm looking at some of the reports Ayukwe, our correspondent, filed today from your meeting. One story he sent, it says the Public Accounts Committee is questioning the whereabouts of 2 Nissan Tida vehicles allegedly procured by the Ministry of Labour, Jobs and Employment in 2011. 2011, I don't even know how many years ago that is. That's plenty years, right? Then you have other issues that you have been following up. And the worst part is that per the standing orders, your committee is supposed to be chaired by a member from the opposition party. Yonobo Abina Osiasari is a member of the opposition party. However, some of the things that are being questioned were carried out under the Akufo-Addo administration, which she was a part of. How do you expect her, and this is not exclusive to her, when NPP was in power, James Aveji was chairing, he was from the opposition party at the time. My question is, when, for instance, Abina Osiasari is supposed to be questioning conduct in a government that she was part of, how fair can that be? One. Two, if you're dealing with a matter as way back as 2011, those vehicles, I'm not even sure what a Nissan Tida looks like. I don't know how it is and whether we even have those vehicles from 2011. How important is this work that you do in saving our money or preventing loss?
Omar, let me take the first one first. If you have read our standing orders and if you have followed our proceedings the whole of last year and this year, you would realize that the Honorable Abina Sari is not chairing the committee when we are hearing or administering, doing our work. She begins by telling everybody that yes, our standing orders provides that this committee should be chaired by a member of the opposition when we are considering accounts relevant to a government. And therefore, as these accounts are related to 2024, she cannot chair and therefore recuses herself as the chairman and gives that to the ranking member who chairs now. So Professor Samuel Attah-Mensah had chaired from last year and is even chairing today as I speak now. He chairs the committee. You understand that? So yes, we are a government of two sides probably. We have the in government and that. So if you are saying that because the person was, then there ought not to be any even member from the party or the government, even on that committee, even to start with.
I think this information is very helpful, and I really appreciate that happens. So,
yes,
how long ago was
yes.
I know what the standing orders state, but I didn't know that in practice she recuses herself and allows Prof. To do that.
She makes that pronouncement even before introductions are done.
Good. I like that. Now, how way back is the backlog of what you are dealing with? Is it from 2014, 2024 or 2023? How way back before we can now finally say we've dealt with everything, she cannot take charge and deal with this current government?
Good. Omaro, currently as we speak now, we are in 2026. We are dealing with the accounts of 2024. By the close of this week, we'll be done with dealing with all the accounts of 2024. In this year, we should be receiving the Auditor General's report for 2025, which is not ready. So currently, as we speak, the 9th Parliament is as current as daylight on the government account that has to come. Previously, we probably may be lacking in about 3 years back. But in the 8th Parliament, we made sure that we cleared all the backlogs of all Auditor General's report that had come to Parliament up until 2023. So we started the 2024 hearings last year. So we are as current as daylight as compared to previously.
Okay.
And you made that reference in relation to the 2011 reference that the Auditor General made in his report. And why it is important that is made and why it safeguards public funds. Omaru, if you purchase a property for the state, it's for the state, no matter how long it takes. If we don't go back to make sure that we trace the history of assets of the state and make sure that they are duly accounted for, what if another person takes an asset of the state, say 2 years from now, or say 2023 or 2022? Therefore, we will not even be able to trace. So this sends a signal to every single individual who is given responsibility over government asset, government property, that no matter how long, you will be made to discharge that property and make sure that the right process of discharging that property has been done. Because if you remember, I asked a very simple question in relation to this particular matter, that if you say you cannot find that property, was there any disposal documentation? Because once you purchase and you depreciate the asset, it gets to its useful life. You are to dispose of the property. And you and I know in disposal of properties, there are always some amount that we term as residual value that you can sell for. Because if you depreciate the vehicle for sale, we depreciate vehicles probably at 20% per annum. So at a maximum of 5 years, the vehicle has no useful life. So it means that the value of the asset must be zero. But however, when you are disposing of, at times we get some income from that, and that becomes the residual value that goes to the state. If we do not go through that proper process and we cannot account for that property or that car or vehicle, and that vehicle ends up with somebody else, that person could dispose of that property and gain that income that the state could have gained, and make sure that we could use that to reduce the amount of any new purchase that we are going to make. So if a property or if a transaction has not been required by the organization and the Auditor General goes into the books and find the need for us to go and dig down, even if it's 100 years, the Auditor General will go on that one. And it's a requirement that we also make sure that wherever that property is, anybody who is responsible for that, account for that. That brings about responsibility for even those today who are managing to know that once even you are gone, you'll be called back. And if you recall our current hearings that we are doing, even for people who have been transferred from ministries, departments, and agencies to other ones, we make sure that the current ministry, when they are coming, even with their current people who are responsible for those portfolios, those individuals are also brought in addition to answer the questions. For instance, if somebody is to say was working for Citi FM during 2023, and that person has been transferred from Citi FM, say branch A to branch B in 2026, and we are dealing with the accounts of 2023, I may now be handling the portfolio that person was handling in 2020 and 2026. The person is still alive, transferred to another area. That person is brought in addition to me to help answer those ones, so that we can get to the bottom of everything that we are doing. So that is what currently we are doing. So regardless of wherever the person is, even if on retirement and the person is alive and kicking, those persons are also invited in our current hearings to also appear, because we have responsibility on behalf of the people of this country. So that is what we are doing now. So currently we have life as daylight, and by June, the Auditor General will be able to submit to us the report for 2025, which is just last year, and that one will be carried somewhere around August.
Okay. In
the same year of this year, yes.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
Thank you very much, Umaro.
That's Honorable Akwasi Konadu. He's Member of Parliament for Mensah North and a member of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Well, it rained overnight. It rained yesterday as well, and it rained 2 days ago. Is that the end of it? No. We always go to the GMET to understand more. EGB has our story for us.
The Ghana Meteorological Agency is warning the public to expect more rainfall in the coming days. Speaking to Citi News, Deputy Director in charge of forecasting Joseph Tete Potufi advised residents in flood-prone communities to move to safer locations. He also urged motorists to avoid driving through flowing water during heavy rains, warning that such actions could lead to accidents and possible loss of lives.
But currently we are in we are in May. We're not June and July yet, so definitely we should expect more rain. Yeah, what I'll tell Ghanaians is that we are in a rainy season. We've not got to the peak yet. This is just the beginning. So we should look at our environment, wherever we live. If you live in a place where when it rains, it becomes flooded, or you cannot even stay in your house, then move to a higher ground, move to somewhere. The rain will stop and then you can go. If you close from work and you are going home and it's raining, and you know some places when it rains, it is flooded. Please avoid those places. And the drivers also, you may see a flash flood. You may think, I have a big car, I can pass through this water. You don't know the speed and the strength of the water that is running. So if anything, just park, wait. When the water flows, then you can go. If you attempt, it might take you and your passengers to another level. And I believe when we do all these things, yes, as for the rain, we need it. We need it for our farmers, we need it for our cocoa, we need it for food to eat. So we should also protect ourselves. Though we need it, fire is good. If you don't protect it, you don't handle it well, it can destroy you. It's a serious rain. So the rains will come, we enjoy our lives. Thank you.
That was the Deputy Director in charge of forecasting at the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Joseph Tete Potufi.
This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. When we return, we'll hear from the Minister for Government Communication, Minister of State in charge of Government Communication, Phyllis Kwachu-Ofosu. He's taking issue with the Ghana Bar Association over its non-comment on the Honorable Alexander Penyo-Markin's comment on the judge at Circuit Court 9. Stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
livestream I'm nice. I get some serious meeting. Allah, motion. But Charlie, no credit today. Oh, but you relax. More day.
Hey, what funny.
Yes, so I borrow small, sort myself out, I pay back. We move. Spall there. Ah, Charlie, you sure say you dey pay back? Yes, so that anytime somebody else they need them, Momo day. Be like I for can't borrow some more. Hey, you this boy. Don't go there and disgrace yourself. Allah motion.
Responsible borrowing be the real flexo for today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. Borrow, sort them, pay back. Momo day.
This June, all roads lead to Accra. WAMPEX, the West African Mining and Power Expo, returns from the 3rd to the 5th of June for its 19th edition. Endorsed by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, WAMPEX brings together over 6,000 mining professionals and over 250 local and international exhibitors. Meet the people behind West Africa's mining operations, discover new suppliers, and make the connections that move projects forward. From a high-level conference to innovation hub workshops and valuable networking opportunities, now hosted at its new home, the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel in Accra. Headline sponsors: Anglo Gold Ashanti, Goldfields, and B5 Plus. Register now for free visitor access at www.wampexwestafrica.com and be a part of West Africa's leading mining event.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Yeah, welcome back. This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Over the weekend, Minority Leader and MP for Futu Alexander Attah-Mensah called a press conference, talk about what they termed an attack on their people by the state and the arrest of their persons. Then I think during the conversation, he also touched on the non-granting of bail by the justice at the Circuit Court 9. And his comments were to the effect that he does not respect that judge and will not respect the judge. Let's listen to him.
That judge has no respect for his own judicial oath. I don't think he read the law. That Circuit Court 9 judge, I have no respect for him. For a judge to say that he's remanding Abroye into BNI custody until the case is finally determined, such a judge can never have my respect. I pray that he summons me for contempt. I will continue to disrespect him until he upholds the law. He's gone beyond his judicial function, and it is not his first. It's as if he has been selected purposely to achieve this. He doesn't talk law. I don't know whether he ever passed his law exam. It's a shame. It's a shame on the judiciary, and my Lord Baffour must pay attention to this. For whatever it is, it's about his legacy. I'm told by December he will be 70 and he will be gone. Is that the legacy he wants to leave after Tokonu was booted out of office and all manner of accusation leveled against Tokonu? Is that the judiciary? Yes. The judiciary, they said they were going to reset. Is that the reset where a judge will say he is remanding an accused because if he allows him to go home, if he grants him bail, he is likely to talk again. So he should remain in custody.
So that's the Honorable Alexander Attah-Mensah, a Futu MP, minority leader in Ghana's parliament. Now, Xavier Kuje is PRO of the Ghana Bar Association. Mr. Kuje, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, my brother. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I want to read for you a post that was made on Facebook in relation to the voice you just heard and then ask your comment. The post was made by Phyllis Kwachiofosu, his Minister of State in charge of Government Communication, MP for Abura Sebo Kwamankesi. He says, I have long dismissed the Ghana Bar Association as an NPP grouping. If it were not so, the intolerable abuse of this judge by the minority leader would have elicited an immediate, uncompromising response. They have been known to respond quickly to far less offensive commentary by non-NPP members. Alas, one of their own, an NPP lawyer, has abused a judge, so they have been loudly silent. What insufferable duplicity. How do you respond to this?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Are you done with the reading?
Yes, I am done. So my question is, how do you respond to what he said?
Well, my response is that it is not surprising, but I'm rather disappointed. Because this thing came to our attention last night, and it hasn't even been 24 hours yet. And people have come to conclusion that we're not going to issue a statement. A statement was going to be issued, except that those who signed the statement were in a meeting. But because of the urgency of the matter, and because we care about what we want to say about the conduct of the minority leader, who is a lawyer, that is why I'm even giving you or granting you this interview. We didn't want to wait until the statement gets signed. Now, I am surprised people will always continue to say that we are a wing of the NPP. I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. There is nothing wrong for lawyers to become politicians. I know lawyers who are politicians who are NDC politicians. I know lawyers who are MPP lawyers and who are MPP politicians, and they are lawyers as well. So I think that let us go past this and think about the problems that are worrying us as a society. The problems of sanitation, the problems of galamsey, the problems of lack of water and all that. Because every moment anything happens, there's likely for the GBA to be labeled an MPP bias association. You know, when we are registering our members, nobody asks for anybody's political affiliation before the registration is done. Of course, that is people's thinking and that's their perception. They are entitled to it. But I'm saying that it is not true that we are a wing of MPP or we are biased in favor of MPP. Not at all.
Okay, what does the GBA think of the comments made by Alexander Afenyomakin?
It is very unpalatable, unbecoming of a senior lawyer of his standing at the bar. Particularly so, a senior lawyer who is privileged enough to be the minority leader of the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. A lawyer who I'm told is also a chief. Is this the kind of example he wants to give his subjects? Is this the kind of example he wants to give his constituents? As a lawyer, if his complaint is that a judge has acted in a way, according to him, not within the ambit of the law, this is not the way I think that it should go, especially somebody like him. My thinking is that the appellate system is not there for fun. These are situations that are addressed by the appellate system. So if, according to him, the judge did not act within his jurisdiction, he knew what to do. He shouldn't go to the press. Not at all. We are disappointed. And he has acted very unprofessionally and unethically because our etiquette rules, you don't do things like this by attacking the qualification of a judge or the competence of a judge.
Okay, now if that is the case and he has done so, what remedies are available for the judge? Can someone go and report him and say he should be punished, or the judge himself has to decide that he ought to be punished?
The judge himself can decide, a group of lawyers too can decide, because our rules enjoin us to draw attention to things like this, unethical conduct by colleague lawyers. Nothing prevents lawyers to do that.
Okay, when would the GBA put this in a formal statement so that the attacks on you by persons including the government spokesperson would cease?
Well, I can tell you the statement had been ready since morning, except that we have people who sign statements for us, our president and our secretary. They were held in a meeting, I think since morning. I was not even available at the time. But the draft was done by me and nobody else for their review and for the review of everybody, for their signature. I am told they just came out of the meeting to look at it. Then we'll finalize it and send it out. So it's not as if we've been sitting without knowing what to do. It can never be so. And I don't know any statistics that anybody has regarding timing. That's when things happen on the MPP, NDC side. We timelessly come out less than 48 hours or 24 hours to issue statement. Yet when it happens relative to a perceived MPP person, we do not do that. I don't know who has that statistics. I don't have one. Because once the matter comes to our attention, all efforts are made as quickly as possible to come out with a statement, unless we decide not to issue one. Sometimes we don't issue statements. Sometimes we just grant interviews.
What does the Bar Association make of the tag that has been associated with it over the period that it is aligned to the Blue, the New Patriotic Party? And in responding to that, I would ask your comment on the new association called the Law Society, which people have said in private circles to be the rival association to you because you are not unbiased.
Well, the answer I'll give relative to the tag of being an MPP bias bar is that that is not true. That is not true in the sense that if that were true, I wouldn't have been granting this interview to you today. Because once the bar is only supporting MPP people and MPP lawyers, we would have kept quiet on this. A number of things happened in the past that we did. If you remember, in 2023 or so at Cape Coast, we criticized President Akufo-Addo. Before then, when President Mahama came out with a unanimous 7 statement and MPP inclined judges, we criticized him. So when President Akufo-Addo came to Cape Coast and wanted to capitalize on that, to campaign to say that based on those statements and other matters, well-meaning Ghanaians shouldn't vote for President Mahama in the 2024 election, we condemned it. If we were in Kumasi with us last year, I granted an interview saying that President Akufo-Addo couldn't say anything about the issues of Galamsey after our president had given his speech because he had no record to defend. If we were MPP, why would we have done all that? So it is never true. People are entitled to their perceptions and their thoughts.
Thank you
so
much.
That's the way they want to be.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. You wanted to say something. You may land, please.
Now, on the issue of the rival association, that matter is in court, so I don't want to comment on it.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That's Xavier Kuje. He is PRO of the Ghana Bar Association. Let's speak to Nana Baffour. He's a lawyer and MP for Mensah South. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. Your leader is being called out by the Ghana Bar Association. You just heard it there, that the comments he made were unprofessional. You are a lawyer. Will you report him so that action will be taken against him?
Umari, you have a very interesting way of asking your questions. But you see, we need to appreciate one thing, that when you are a lawyer and a politician, sometimes you may be caught up in a situation that goes beyond the boundaries of the profession. And so sometimes we need to look at some of these things beyond just the professional boundaries. That said, I would want us to focus on the elephant in the room, the real issue. There's a certain trend. That trend we must all be interested in as Ghanaians. We need to interrogate it because the only time we get to hear or see what goes on in the courtroom, perhaps apart from elections petition, is when high-profile cases or high-profile persons are being dealt with. And so we are not able to follow on a regular basis what happens in our courtroom, particularly when the court is dealing with ordinary Ghanaians. And so when such high-profile cases come up, and there's a certain trend, right, we need to pay attention to them and ask ourselves, is it a court general way of dealing with people, or this is an exceptional situation with the court is, the exceptional way by which the court is dealing with the people? And that is why I think that the Ghana Bar Association should not limit itself. Ghana Bar Association should not just limit itself to the condemnation or criticism of what has happened. There is also something which is going on. I believe that the Ghana Bar Association is always caught between the rock and the hard place. It is always facing criticism from one party or the other that it sides with the MPP, and if it comes, to defend a member of the MPP, is likely to be said to also be siding if it comes to criticize a member of the MPP, it will said to be siding with the NDC. So it's a very difficult position. However, a principled position in this particular instance will not just be a criticism of Right Honorable Afenyo Markins, the minority leader. That is if it is even the best thing to do. But let's look at the elephant really in the room. Like I've already laid the background. Clearly, there's a certain trend. That trend is contrary to due process of law. And we shouldn't be worried. Is that how the courts, some of our courts, right, are dealing with ordinary people too? Or it's just their way of dealing with high-profile people? If it is their way of dealing with high-profile people, that is equally more concerning, because the court then would have taken a partisan position. But if this is their way of dealing with everybody, then it raises a fundamental issue of the competence of that court. Why do I say so? Let's take the Abronia matter. We all know that when you do something which denigrates the court, that is contempt of court, right? And Umar, you're a law student. That is contempt of court. Now, is this the way contempt of court is dealt with by our courts? Clearly, when you take the charge sheet, you know that the facts don't support the charge. And so when someone comes to you asking for the person to be remanded, and there's a problem. Someone says that when the prosecution says the accused should be remanded, then there's a problem. Two, the prosecution, right? The judge agreed with the prosecution that if Abronia is given bail, he's likely to commit the same offense. Is remand used in preventing people from committing similar offenses? Right? So clearly, what has happened is not proper. And my concern
but this question you've just asked, I'm sure you are minded by the provisions of Section 96 of Act 30. I'm saying that you are minded by the reasons for which a judge can or cannot grant bail. And one of them is that if the person, once released, will interfere with investigations, and if you go and commit another crime and all of that.
The interference.
I'm just saying that one of them could be that he may go and commit a similar offense or another offense. So if that's what the judge's reasoning is, the view from the GB is that you could have gone on appeal. That is why we have the appellate system. If one judge doesn't grant you, go to another.
So my response, I've got two responses for you. To begin with, the fact itself did not support the offense as charged. And so if you are a judge, right, who holds a constitutional duty to protect the ordinary Ghanaian against the state, okay, you should not allow the liberty of the individual to be compromised easily, merely because it is the wishes of the state, right, that the individual's liberty should be compromised upon. You ought to be given sufficient reason which is consistent with the Constitution before you grant the wishes of the state. Because, look, in passing the Constitution, it was anticipated that we're not going to always have saints in leadership. We're not going to have saints as policemen. And so the court is the one that stands between the state and the ordinary Ghanaian. And so if you are going to give the state an easy pass against the ordinary Ghanaian, then it is troublesome. More importantly, if we are going to have a situation where, right, when we have a peek into what happens in our courtroom, it is one that is inconsistent with due process of law. The question is, what is the ordinary citizen, suffering? The ordinary citizen may be suffering the same way as the high-profile people are suffering in our courtroom. And so when these cases come up, a court should not just think that they are dealing with, maybe political opponents of the establishment, right? But it is the opportunity for the citizens to see how justice is being rendered.
Okay.
And so far, in respect of what we are seeing, particularly from the court in issue, right, it raises serious questions about how the court is delivering or rendering justice. It raises serious questions about how the fundamental human rights of the people are being protected by the court.
Thank you, Honorable. Before
we
you
need
go,
to have a bigger conversation regarding this issue.
Just one quick question before you go. Do you believe that your leader behaved unprofessionally in the comment he made, yes or no?
That is not for me to judge.
Okay. Do you agree? Let's get this. So the GBA says yes. Do you agree with the GBA or you don't?
Did the GBA also see the breach or the court's failure to protect fundamental human rights?
Very well. Let's leave it here. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
See, before you go, let me say this.
Yes.
The GBA should always not lose sight of the fact that it is when it stands for the people that they are able to carry the people along. That is when they are able to have the support of the people. They should not just condemn, but they should also stand up for the people. Abonye's fundamental human right has been compromised, right? And it was done in breach of due process of the law.
All right.
And that is one thing the GBA shouldn't run away from.
Let's leave it here.
To those issues too.
Thank you so much. Nana Baffour is NPP Member of Parliament for Minsha South, and he is a lawyer. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. On Point Blank tonight, I have a Member of Parliament, again from the NPP stock, former Deputy Minister of Trade, Honorable Stephen Moore, will be having a conversation around the IMF. But before then, Ejubi has a story on Ebola.
The Ghana Health Service says the country is fully prepared to tackle the Ebola virus. The World Health Organization has declared the spread of Ebola virus as a global health emergency following recorded cases in DR Congo and Uganda. The Director of Public Health at the service, Dr. Franklin Esiedubekun, explained that Ghana's emergency response systems have been enhanced to adequately tackle the virus. He also urged the public to be on the lookout for symptoms to report them to health facilities promptly.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Your attention, please. Flight C8 has been delayed.
Again. Madam, can you please point me to the water fountain? And please watch my back and phone whilst I'm gone.
You can be a traveler with infinite worries.
Hello, Mr. Anand. Your lounge access is ready and your seat is warm.
Or you can be a traveler with infinite privileges.
Champagne, sir?
Hey, Regine, order drink.
Choose EcoBank's infinite privileges with an EcoBank Visa Infinite card. Access airport lounges worldwide, fast-track services, best-in-class daily limits, and enjoy other exclusive travel and lifestyle benefits. Infinite privileges await. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Are you an HR professional, a people manager, a business leader, or someone interested in understanding how organizations achieve results through people? Then join the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management Ghana for the CIHRM 2026 conference under the theme Advancing Human Resource Excellence in Ghana, Leadership, Technology and Governance on 10th and 11th June 2026 at Alisa Hotel, Accra. Register today at www.cihrmghana.org. For bulk tickets, sponsorships and partnerships, contact Adelaide on 0508-822-456 or Audrey on 0508-824-058. CIHRM 2026 Conference, Shaping the Future of HR in Ghana.
Electrical say Nancy Numa ye wo.
If it's a man for fake na begum.
It's a motor cables. I wanna why. Scan. Check the cables. Or your Nexus cable metal. One low smoke anti-counterfeit cables. Nibia. So Nibia. Muntwada.
A dear Nema will use cables.
Low smoke anti-counterfeit cables. You mentioned it. The fake cables on your papa wire. Then they say, gentleman. Open whistle P. You toxic. No me genusu so who are. One pongo table to make. Let's say use low smoke anti-counterfeit cable. I imagine in show. Whistle a creeping over. Into a triangle between a denuma. And when you low smoke anti-counterfeit cables, yeah. Etra. And wonder why. What you must scan. Now check it there. So your original. Offering Nexus cable metal. Nexus cable metal low smoke anti-counterfeit cable. Yes, Sasha. The Yaja to be there. Only you got a cable.
Nexon's cable metal. Electricity no get leg. The Nexon's cable metal cable they carry up.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. City Business News. Be informed.
Time now for City Business News on Eyewitness News. I am Ejubi Wiafe Akintin. Let's settle for the details. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, says Ghana is facing a more difficult global environment with the Middle East conflict and its impact on energy prices, now the biggest risk to the country's short-term economic outlook. Speaking at the opening of the 130th Monetary Policy Committee meeting at the Bank Square, he said the domestic economy has remained generally strong since March, but external pressures are becoming more intense. He explained that policymakers will focus on the risk of inflation, expectations being affected from two sides at the same time, that is, rising global commodity prices and disruptions in local energy supply.
The overall picture since end March, the last time this committee met, is one of a domestically resilient economy. A domestic economy that is navigating an increasingly difficult external environment with the energy price shock from the Middle East conflict, now the central risk that is shaping the near-term outlook. So the Monetary Policy Committee this time has several substantive issues to address. The issues range from realigning the entire interest rate structure in the economy as inflation remains low, to addressing policies to ensure inflation expectations do not become a dislodge, even as the combination of domestic energy supply disruptions and external commodity price pressures.
You heard Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama. Away from that, Nyonyo Naswan District in the Northeast region and Ayawaso North Municipal in the Greater Accra region have emerged as the highest and lowest points of multidimensional poverty in Ghana, according to latest district-level poverty estimates. The Ghana Statistical Service says Nyonyo Naswan recorded the highest poverty incidence at 51.6% in 2025, while Ayawaso North Municipal recorded the lowest at 5.5%, highlighting wide regional disparities. Speaking at the release of the National, Regional and District Multidimensional Poverty Rankings, government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu noted that poverty remains largely concentrated in the northern parts of the country.
Out of Ghana's 261 districts, 250 recorded reductions in multidimensional poverty between 2021 and 2025. This tells us that progress is possible. It tells us that investment in education, healthcare, social protection, infrastructure, and livelihood can make a difference. But the report also reminds us that progress is uneven. Nyonyo Naswan District in the Northeast region recorded the highest multidimensional poverty incidence in 2025, with 51.6% of its population experiencing multiple deprivations.
Dr. Hassan Idrisu is government statistician. Now, the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications is pressing for accelerated deployment of 5G infrastructure in Ghana. Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, Sylvia Owusu Ankoma, speaking at the celebration of World Telecommunication and Information Society Day 2026, said Ghana is lagging nearly 6 years behind in the rollout of 5G technology. Her comments come as government targets 70% population coverage of 5G services by March 2027.
In fact, the world has moved on from 5G and we're talking 6G, etc. Ghana has always been a pace setter when it comes into the technology world. We have chalked so many successes. I just made reference to GSMA recognizing Ghana in the whole of the world. Ghana is #1 when it comes to mobile money. Why are we holding back on 5G? Okay, as a country, we are already 6 years behind that journey. And the earlier we have clarity in terms of moving 5G rollouts forward, the better for the country.
Sylvia Osankuma is Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications. And that's all for City Business News on Eyewitness News, brought to you by Republic Bank, where the one for you. Join the Republic Verse to do more, shine more, big up. I am Ejibi Wiafia Kenti. Up next is Point Blank.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Mappé. Et mappé. French, you did. This is midi croissant.
Meet Aja. She makes sobolo in a small shop in Kaswa. She's going places with MTN Ejumapa. Now, she's learning French to teach her francophone customers indigenous recipes.
Watashi no namae wa?
Watashi no namae. Boy.
Whoa. She's learning Japanese too? Watashi. What? If you're a woman with a small business, join MTN Ejumapa today by dialing *5060# and enjoy 150 megabytes data, a lifestyle bundle for social media, free MTN to MTN calls every Monday, and an insurance cover. You will also gain access to expert training, discounts on digital tools, and financial support to grow the business of your dreams. Terms and conditions apply. MTN.
The World Cup football fever is here, and Electroland Ghana Limited is bringing the excitement of the stadium right into your home with unbeatable soccer promotion. Experience every goal and celebration in clarity, just like you're live at the stadium with discounts on Samsung, TCL, and NASCO Smart TVs. Make every match day perfect for your football watch parties with powerful air conditioners and air coolers, top and bottom mount chest and display fridges, gas cooker, washing machines, microwaves, small kitchen appliances, and more. This is the biggest football promo of the year. Rush to our showrooms and authorized dealer shops or call 050-315-9739. Electroland, bringing the stadium home.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
This is Point Blank on Eyewitness News. I am Umar Sanda. But tonight on Point Blank, we're talking about the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Last week, the government of Ghana announced that we have exited the program successfully. A program we started 3 years ago with the IMF. So how have we fared? The program was entered under the Akufo-Addo administration. One of the officers of the Akufo-Addo administration served as deputy minister is the MPP MP for Nshiaesu in the Ashanti region, Dr. Stephen Amoah. He's my guest. You're welcome, Doc.
And your friend. Thank you very much.
Occasional
you are last born, I'm last born.
It means that we are supposed opposite.
We have a thing in common.
Opposite poles attract. So me and you, we are like poles. We cannot attract because I'm last born. You're last born.
But sometimes there's some sort of, we call something cohesive force.
Okay, you are the scientist.
In physics.
I'm a communication person. I'm not a scientist. So if you say so, I believe you.
Either cohesive or adhesive force. But I think the one is cohesive.
Okay. How are you doing?
By the grace of God.
How is the law program coming?
Law. I'm done with my LLB.
Oh, you finished? So
yes.
you are not writing entrance exams. You should thank John Mahama, the president. He's cancelling entrance exams.
Why? Are we not going to write exams again?
Oh, you write exit exams.
So it's not exams.
Oh, but at least the stress of entering the law school now.
And you think the short time, Ghana is prepared, the legal system is prepared, educational, whatever is prepared. No, I'm asking you. No, you yourself. Do you think is that going to be very efficient and effective? It's a good policy. I'm not saying it's bad, but this short time, Boss, let's do things right. Anyway, I didn't come to talk about it.
So let's talk about IMF.
Thank you.
When you heard that we had exited the IMF successfully last week Friday, as someone who was part of the team that led us there, what was going through your head?
Led us where?
To the IMF.
Oh, okay. My regards to our cherished viewers or listeners and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I think we need to build a preamble or the premise very well. You cannot just jump somebody who led us there. We didn't go there by choice, choice as in a decision, yes. But we didn't just sit there and say we're going there.
We ran the economy down, so we had to go.
Nobody ran the economy down. Global economy ran us down because we depend on the global economy.
You were the managers.
No, that is one thing. So if you are here and it rains, right now, if it rains, and there's wind, and this thing goes off, things get messed up, devastated here, deteriorated here, and you are not able to function because of the unexpected incident. Can we say that? Can we say that it's you and your management?
Yeah, they call it force majeure. But if it's found out that my management did not put up proper pillars to hold the roof, and the roofing sheet,
then the whole world did not.
And the roofing sheet wasn't quite.
Then the whole world did not, because at that time the world grew negative 3.3. Go and check. The world grew negative 3. Even Ghana grew 0.4 or 5. It means we did well. Just check. The world grew negative 3.3. Our economy is import driven. So sometimes, let's be honest with ourselves. When in the history of this country did we ask public and civil servants to stay home, but they were paid?
I don't remember.
Thank you. Our time it happened. There was impaired market productivity. What it meant was that our GDP was not growing. Private sector sacked over 40,000 people. Payee corporate taxes. We had revenue shortfall of almost 12 billion. So we had to rely on debt financing. Our debt GDP went almost 90%. But because we are good managers of the economy, by December 2024, our GDP had grown or was growing 5.6, even higher than 2016. Primary balance, even inflation rate, have been reduced from 54.1 to 22.9. So the economy had been fully restored. But then its impact on us, because we run what I describe as defensive market economy. There's always a very large period when it comes to impact of economic performance and then our market activity. It takes a long time because SMEs occupy about 90% or 80% of our market economy. And there, we call something systematic risk index. It's far less than 1. So it's defensive sector. If our economy or market had been the aggressive sector like the developed economies, I'm sure Ghanaians probably might have voted for us because the impact hadn't been felt by Ghanaians. Okay. But the economy had been restored. And that restoration and the performance is still what we are feeling because it started going down.
Is COVID and Russia-Ukraine the only reason for which we had to go to the IMF? Were there no underlying issues we had before those two?
Ask this question. It's a very good question, but I think if you put it this way, I'll say yes. But if you say
there was no other factor.
No. So I'm coming. If you say that, were our difficulties or challenges only as a result of COVID and then Russia, I would say no. But if you say were they the reasons or factors that led us go to IMF, I would say yes.
Were they the only reason?
No. If why we went, yes. But why we had economic challenges, no.
No, I want to know why we went.
So let me explain.
When I said that you are part of the team that took us to IMF, you said that we have to start from the genesis.
So let me explain to you.
Yeah, no, I just want to ask that question.
So let me explain. I'm answering you.
No, so I want to ask a follow-up question.
No, I'm answering you first.
Okay.
Let me explain to you. Even today, we have problems. Today, that we are getting fiscal independence as a result of IMF approval. But don't forget, we had first, second, staff, executive level approvals. What it meant was that we had already positioned this country very well in terms of fiscal discipline, in terms of fiscal consolidation and restoration. We had done that. So don't forget, we started and doing all those things, and we went out of power. What I understand is that in terms of sometimes mismanagement, the way we manage expenditures, I mean, in our country, not because of MPP and NDC, you know. I mean, for about 30, 40 years, we are import-driven economy. There are certain things that we have them as a matter of our own cultural problems and practices. They are there, I agree. But the severity that actually drove us to IMF, it was the COVID and was the Ukraine-Russian war. Because first 3 years, we're growing averagely 7%. My
follow-up question.
We are growing inflation rate averagely 7%. Our reserve, everything. We are running one of the most enviable pro-poor policies as a result of prudent economic management. So we're doing well.
My follow-up question
we're doing so much well.
So if it is true that force majeure is the reason we had to go to the IMF, and because we are part of the global economy and there was a global problem, how many countries of the world went to the IMF in 2022, in addition to Ghana?
I can't give you the number, but look,
because that's the only way you can say that.
Even you guys were talking about the Francophone countries. The Francophone countries do not have central banks. They don't have the sovereignty to manage their own central economic policies. So they were actually adhered to France. But I learned even Ivory Coast went, other countries went, and was an option. But don't think going to IMF was a crime. It's not.
No, you made it look like a crime. You were the ones who said we're a proud nation that will not go to IMF.
But even today, NDC people are saying they will never go to IMF.
No, I'm just saying that.
But you can make a decision.
IMF is not a crime, but you made it sound like a crime.
I'm sure you'd have allowed me to explain things for people to understand rather than engaging me this way.
No.
It will not help you, it will not help listeners.
No, I'm guiding the conversation.
This is not conversation. You are just kind of giving me a hot debate.
Oh, how? How dare me debate
This is a technical area that you should allow me to explain things. If you don't want, no problem.
But I have the right to ask questions.
Yeah, but the question you're asking is you yourself. You can even decide not to do something, but circumstances. That's what we talk about, uncertainty, risk factors.
Yes.
Because you can decide.
Poor management, mismanagement can let you go to
Was it true that the time that we're growing 0.5, the world was growing negative 0.3?
You see?
Was it that the world average inflation rate within that period went about 200%? If you do the calculation, percentage change. Was it true that in this country there was market impaired product? Was it true that even things were important, one item was 4,000, it went to 12,000? Was it true that last quarter 2024, most of the primary macro indicators that were leading us to all these challenges had been restored, and some of them were even doing better than 2016?
Yes.
Were they true?
But if they
what are you talking about?
If you were met
prepared, what are you talking about?
If you were met prepared.
So the world was not met prepared.
No, Ghana was not met prepared.
But the world to agree negative 2.2. So was whose fault?
I'm asking if
I'm also asking you, if you want to go this way, they want to destroy your program.
Did the world go to IMF?
Did the world, but how could the world go to
exactly?
But you are displaying highly a big time ignorance. The world can never go to IMF.
No problem.
But the world can never go to IMF.
No problem.
But you know that.
The world is made up of countries.
How come that when I come here,
the world
instead
is made up
of you
countries
taking your time asking me questions, you always want to go this way. This is not why you called me.
Oh, we're talking about IMF.
I'll be honest, but how can you ask me did the world go to has the world gone to IMF before?
When I say the world,
no, has the world gone to IMF before?
When I say the world, you know what I mean.
Has the world gone to IMF before?
When I say the world, you know what I mean. I mean the countries of the world.
Come on, don't go there. Don't go there. The world is the world.
No, but you see, when you came, you used the analogy of the roof of this studio.
Are you sure you are prepared for us to have very decent conversation?
I'm very happy to host you
but
and
you
engage you.
Ask me a question. Let me explain. Then you take me to why we went to IMF, why we did this. IMF is giving us third approval, okay, and giving us fiscal independence. I'm giving you what led to we going to IMF and how we had performed as good economic managers to get this country restored in terms of our economy. And the figures are there to show. Even the time we exited or were voted out, Ghana's economy was growing higher, almost twice as 2016. And when COVID and Russian whatever had not occurred, what were these indicators? This is what I'm saying. So you cannot say that they were not part of it. If right now you come to work every day and God forbid something happens to you and that maybe you lose your car where you live or you come by a flight and because of that now you come very late, can people appreciate the fact that yes, probably you were not 100% efficient or effective, but the situation we find ourselves in now in terms of severity is because of this unexpected incident.
People ask what my plan Bs were, and that's where I'm getting you to.
If we weren't having plan B, we couldn't have restored the economy. I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, with the guide of the IMF. That's what we're studying economy.
IMF came to manage it for us.
Of course.
Manage our economy for us.
Oh, were they not?
What are you talking about?
What was the purpose of IMF in the room? Can you educate me?
IMF is basically came in to help us, support us.
So that's
but there were conditionalities.
Yes, which we had to stick to.
But if we had not performed well, we could have made those targets. One thing you should know.
Yeah, but we
and even the IMF is talking about we are still going to have the PCI. Is a policy coordination instrument. And still, even though it's non-financial
and it's voluntary.
It's of course it's voluntary. But going to IMF was also voluntary.
Yeah, but you had no option left at the time.
When you had no option.
But PCI is optional now. You would have chosen not to.
So are we discussing the economy, or you want to use 20 minutes talking about IMF? Like just why we went to IMF, I've explained. You want to stay there?
But you said you came here, so we talk about IMF.
Of course. So the IMF entails why we went there. I've explained where we placed Ghana before we left. I've explained why we are here today. I'm explaining. You don't want to accept.
Okay.
So, and you have made up your mind that whatever I say, you don't want to accept. I'm even surprised.
This is point blank on Eyewitness News. My guest is Dr. Stephen Amoah, popularly known as Stika. He is NPP member of Parliament.
In any case, were we growing 5.6 before we left?
You see, you are taking us back. You see, I was trying to move forward. You said I should move forward with you. We are moving forward. You are bringing me back. If you bring me back, I will follow you there.
And I also follow you. Don't worry. I'm not even scared.
You
are my brother.
The government now says that things are looking good. The import cover, for instance, 6 months, they said is unheard of. We've not seen something like that. They are better managers of the economy. Atto is forcing.
No, Atto is doing well, but they are not better than MPP. Let me tell you, look, when it comes to the main policies in dealing with your economy, either measuring how it's performing, solving problems, there are 3 key ones if you have all things being equal. In developing economies, the first one doesn't normally work, but to some extent it does. We call something no policy tool. That you live it like that, it's like diseases that are self-limiting. But because of the way our economy is, it's difficult having that thing dealt with. Then we have the fiscal policy. That's the government spending and the management of our taxation or revenue generation domestically. Then we have the monetary. That is the sole stewardship of the Bank of Ghana, where they deal with money supply and the use of interest rate to control funds, those stuff. What I'm trying to say is that what Atto and the NDC inherited, it was just like, sorry to say, I mean, listeners should forgive me, somebody who has, contracted or whatever, a terminal disease, okay, serious infection, the person was dying. Definitely there will be signs. I mean, pale eyes, pale palm, vomiting, you can't eat. And then people came to manage it, or those in charge, or a medical doctor managed it to the extent that the infection, everything had vanished. But the pale palms and the eyes and the other symptoms will have to take some time. And this is what Atto and the NDC took over. And when you get to that stage, whether you are managing it well or not, it continues until something else comes on board. When NDC came,
Doc,
let me finish here. Even now, can you measure NDC's finished work or product that can be measured as can be measured as a percentage of our GDP? I'm not blaming they are not doing well.
Explain what you mean by finished product.
No, what I'm saying that, for instance, can you measure any output of the big push or 24-hour economy?
Where output means what?
No, I'm talking about, okay, we can say that, okay.
There's been fiscal discipline, and that's what we are seeing.
No, but we were fiscal discipline.
Oh, you were in discipline. That's
no, that is not true. Oh. That is not true. That is never ever true. Atto has now started spending.
Yes.
The whole of last year, they didn't spend because, one, they were vetting most of the things. Two, a lot of things are not even come to Parliament for approval. Three, they also came to meet conditionalities.
Let's look at the executive.
I'm coming. They also came to meet conditionalities.
They came to meet over 100 ministers. They reduced it to 50.
So, can I ask one question?
Yes.
The fact that somebody has 4 children and somebody has 12 children, does it mean that the one has 12 children definitely will spend less? Please.
No, we'll spend more.
You are not getting what I'm saying.
Yes.
Somebody can have 5 children.
Yes.
Somebody can have 10 children. The one with 5 children can spend more than the one with the 10 children.
Yes. Except that when this person is responsible, you also have to look for. Akufo-Addo had 100 children. Mahama has 50 children. the V8s have reduced. The bureaucracies have reduced. The expenditure has reduced. And that is what we are seeing. If you have 100 ministers, 100 V8s, now but you have 50 ministers. How many other? So I'm just saying that just on that level
how
alone.
Many other appointees are also using V8s that have not been named necessarily ministers and deputies? Have you checked?
Who?
I mean, go there and check.
Who?
Assistants. One day,
you have had
technical that go and check. I'm saying so how many assistants do they have?
But you've had all those.
How many assistants do we have?
I'm just saying you've had all those.
No, how many assistants do they have?
So I'm saying that.
Okay, do you know how much they've spent so far on emolument for the appointees? You don't even know. So let's wait.
Tell me.
No, I'm saying you don't know. So you cannot. I'm telling you that the numbers alone cannot be. And we cannot infer from the numbers alone and say that they are spending less.
I'm just saying that at least that's a sign we can point to. Look at, for instance,
it's not a sign.
The Independence Day celebration. They decided, let's do it at Jubilee House and cut down costs because if we go to Independence Square, it will cost so much. This shows that they are fiscally responsible.
No. You know, listen.
And they are spending less.
Spending less,
and they are biting what they can chew.
You cannot sit here and say they are spending less. Let's finish. Let auditors report come after this year. Let's see they spend less. So that's all. Right now.
But how about last year? Auditors have already vetted last year.
No. But last year they were not even spending because they were new. They were new government. They were doing configuration rearrangement. They were vetting.
But the wheels of
I'm coming. No.
Nothing stopped.
How many contractors had they paid? No, they were not paid.
Projects were being awarded.
They had not spent on any project. Go and check. They had not spent. You cannot say that they had even spent on 10% of those areas and then other projects.
So how come I saw the construction workers on the motorway was still going on?
If you see construction workers working, it means that government had paid them. You are surprising me today.
Yes, because if contractors are not paid, they pack out. They say that they have paid. I have seen contractors leave projects because they have not been paid.
Contractors are working.
If school feeding people are not paid, they will go on strike.
I'm saying that contractors
I haven't seen nurses go on strike.
Working.
I haven't seen
doctors. What is going on?
No,
teachers and everybody.
I haven't seen people picketing at the finance ministry.
What I'm saying is that if you see contractors working on the road, it doesn't mean they've been paid. This one you need to get it clearly. Ask everyone.
We need to go, but the PCI thing that they have brought in, do you think is useful for us 36 months away from now?
Who has brought it? PCI thing is not the government that has brought it.
It's the government that elected to have it.
It's policy coordinating instrument or coordination instrument.
Yes.
It's basically something that you have to align your policies with what they expect. And they will appraise it maybe 6 months.
Yeah, but we self-elected that we want you to come every 6 months to check if we are doing well.
So what is this about? It's not an innovative idea. It's not a leadership option. It's not anything. I'm not saying it's bad, but don't let us kind of behave like it's something very innovative, some idea that somebody didn't do. Please, what happened globally and the NPP? Maybe if NDC had been in power, over 1 million people could have died. That's why you don't want to talk about it.
Moving forward.
No, that's why you don't want to talk about it.
Moving forward, before we conclude, how do we ensure, you have been in charge of our economy before, how do we ensure we don't return to IMF in the future?
Let me tell you.
What should this government do?
This is a very good question. Thank you. I wish we could have about 1 hour to discuss this. In the first place.
Unfortunately, we just have 2 minutes.
Yes, my brother, there are so many wrong fundamentals or fundamental anomalies that we need to fix them first. One, the way we even embark on expenditure control, to me, I disagree. You cannot just wake up and say that I'm cutting expenditure by 30%. By what econometric analysis or mathematical analysis or financial economic analysis? Which of the items do not have strong correlation with our GDP? Said that when you cut them, it will not impact our destiny. So we need to fundamentally deal with some of these things. 2, governments, and I say government, most of the times borrow on our domestic market at a higher rate than the private sector. This thing is destroying this country. I'm being honest with you. 3, wastage, corruption at all levels, in all departments. 4, we need to quickly come back and deal concisely with issues of agriculture. To the extent that importation of even fruit juice and all those things that will require complex value chains, we deal with them. So once we work on our mindset revolution, once we deal with these basic fundamental economic anomalies.
We'll be fine.
And once we are able to do proper econometric arrangement and management to select those items that we need not to even spend on them because they don't impact our GDP, trust me, the country that we are in today will be more resilient, sustainable, and we need to move out of being a dependent economy. Once we do that, we can move forward.
Thank you so much, Honorable. We have to go, and I promised you I was not going to ask you a question on this, but Pargrave Boachi Dankwa has sent a message, so I'm going to read. He said, extend my courtesies to him and congratulate him on the Wontumi chairmanship bid.
Who sent that?
Pargrave Boachi Dankwa.
So who has this?
No, I'm just reading it for you.
That those things about somebody in somebody's committee, I don't want to even comment.
Very well.
It doesn't add up. I think what matters is what we are discussing now.
Let's leave it here then. Thank you so much, Honorable.
It's a pleasure.
Dr.
But next time, let's have proper, lengthy time to discuss issues. Ghana, we need to talk about a lot of things.
I'll host you on face-to-face. We'll do 1 hour.
And you don't have to do, allow me to explain things.
Yes, please. I hear you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, Dr. Aska, my catering.
You know me, you need to pamper me.
And I'm Umaru Sandamadu. This has been Eyewitness News. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Thank you for staying with us.
City News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 2249.